Hey everybody. First want to thank people who are watching this for watching. I think it's very important. The more people that see this, the better. Especially with what's going on in the world today. I've said I'm gonna come back to what's going on in the world today at the very end of this. So this is video number 4. I was gonna do it from the ski hill. I was gonna try and give you a good scenery from the mountains, but the weather sucks today. So I'm not skiing, so you're stuck with me in my kitchen again. So just please follow along. I promise this will be worth it. I'm going to say some stuff that I can't even believe is going to come out of my mouth. Like, I know it's the truth and it's my truth, but for me to share it is huge. And so that's why I encourage you to follow along. All right, I'm going to keep ripping on. I left off in sort of a dark spot yesterday with my first year in the Canadian Armed Forces when I joined the Navy, and I was on a course, a 10-month course with all male classmates, and I was raped by one of them. A couple of days before my final exam on that course. So what did I do? I told you, I picked myself up. I just took all that shit that happened, put it down, locked it away. 2 days later, I went and graduated top candidate of that course. So very quickly after I graduated that course, I was posted to HMCS Iroquois, and they were in the Gulf of Oman looking for terrorists. So I was flown over to that ship in the Middle East, and I joined the HMCS Iroquois for the next 5 months of the tour. That tour was good. I had a lot of fun. We went to sea for 40 days, and then we get a couple of days off in a port, and there was a lot of drinking, that's for sure, a lot of drinking. The one thing I will say is, throughout my military career, I did a lot of drugs all up until I joined the forces. I did stop doing drugs. Obviously, I had to. I was in the Canadian Armed Forces, and I did not do any drugs. I did quit those, but what I did not stop was drinking. I drank heavily my entire career in the Canadian Armed Forces. Every night. I would say every night. Not full out getting drunk every night, but I was drinking every night and getting drunk many nights. So the drinking was still there. We know why. We all knew why. I had so much trauma, and I was just that's the way I coped with it. So let's go back. So I did my tour with the Navy, and then for the next 3 years, it was just, normal Navy career. I was playing sports for the Canadian Armed Forces. Sports is like my talent. I'm good at sports, so I was captain of a lot of teams. So I was just doing my best to be the best soldier I could be. And I still had that mentality of, I want to be the best. I want to be the best. But in 2008, the Navy just wasn't quite hard enough for me. I wanted something more hardcore. So I transferred to the Royal Canadian Horse Artillery. What is life like for a female in a combat tree in the Canadian Armed Forces? It's not easy. It's not easy. It's male dominated. It's mostly men. You have to measure up to the men in strength and physicality in your job and doing your job. We have rounds for our guns that are 105 pounds each. You have to be able to lift those. Like, these are things you have to be able to do as a female. You have to be able to do what the men do. And if you don't, you're called weak, or you're looked at as weak. I didn't want to be looked at as weak, and so therefore I made sure I wasn't. Also, as a female, everything you did, because there was very few and far between, right? So everything you did was watched. Everything you did, you were labeled. There was rumors about everything you did. That's just the way it was as a female. You had to have thick skin. You really did. And I was good at that. My nickname was Iron Box. So I did well. I was able to earn the respect of the men under me. I rose up in the ranks quite high, retired as a warrant officer. I really feel I was able to do my job as a soldier and therefore earn the respect of the men under me and the men around me, which I thought was amazing. And I was so proud of that. But yeah, it's not easy to be a female. I know over the years there's been so much attention in the media about sexual harassment in the Canadian Armed Forces. Is there sexual harassment in the Canadian Armed Forces? Is it like what they say? I'm here to tell you, absolutely fucking right that it is. There's tons of it. I mean, I experienced it every day of my career. There were some incidences that got reported that were a lot more serious than just random verbal harassment or anything like that. But yeah, it happened all the time. But I mean, the way I saw it is I was one of the guys. I was a soldier just along with them. So it didn't bother me. I just put up thick skin, and sometimes I was just as rude as they were. You had to be. That's how it was. You had to be as a female. You had to become kind of like a guy a little bit in order to succeed. Is it right? No, probably not, but that's just the way it was. So 2009, 2010, I went to Afghanistan, and I was in a forward operating base where we were basically surrounded by Taliban a few hundred feet from us for 9-10 months. I'm not going to get into huge details about my tour in Afghanistan. I think that people who are watching, who know that I was a combat soldier with the artillery in Afghanistan, living hundreds of feet from Taliban, you could probably guess what I did there. Yes, I've been shot at. I've been rocketed. I've been mortared. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. The one thing that did happen in Afghanistan is during my time there, my stomach started getting really bad. My stomach wasn't well, and I kept going to the doctors, and they kept saying, "No, you're just in Afghanistan. It just doesn't like it here. It'll be fine when you go home." So after my tour in Afghanistan, when I did get home, by the time I got home, my stomach was so bad. I then was diagnosed with lymphocytic colitis. They said I might have caught a parasite in Afghanistan that caused the colitis, but my stomach was just bad, and it wasn't getting better. No matter what treatment they put me on, it wasn't getting better. But I love my career, and I didn't let that stop me. So I spent another almost 10 years with really uncomfortable, bad stomach, doing my job in the artillery, continuing to play sports, continuing to just keep moving forward and doing the best I could and be the best soldier I could be. It was about 2018 when things started to change. That's when my body started to fail. Things were just starting to go bad. Things were starting to happen. I was getting infections all the time. Non-stop urinary tract infections. I was on antibiotics for a year and a half straight. I was getting pancreatitis, diverticulitis, gastritis. I was getting all these infections and itises going on. They couldn't explain why. They could not. And they just kept pumping me through, giving me meds to try and help it. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse. I had huge pain in my neck. I was getting dizzy. I was getting massive headaches, migraines that would land me into the hospital, that did something to my body like doctors have never seen before. All these things started happening in around 2018, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. Nobody could figure out. I could not get a diagnosis, like a plain straight diagnosis. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. The only thing that was happening was I was getting sicker and sicker. Unfortunately, when you're in the Canadian Armed Forces, you have to be healthy to do your job. So what happened there was I was medically released at my 20 years service. I was medically released due to multiple issues going on with my body. So even though I didn't want to leave the military, still love my career, I had planned on keeping going, I was being forced to retire. This was devastating to me. Like I said, this was my career. I had done so well, and I had no plans on retiring, and now I was being forced to leave the only way of life that I knew. So that's where we're going to move on to now, is me leaving the Canadian Armed Forces, which brings us to the last 5 years. So now that you have kind of a general history of my past and what I've gone through and what has happened and what I've seen and what I've done, now you're going to understand what I'm going to start talking about in these next 5 years. Now I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of this. Now I'm going to start talking about some crazy shit. I just ask you to follow along, because it's just going to get real interesting from here on out. And yeah, some of you may think I'm nuts, but I can guarantee you I'm not. I can guarantee you this is also true. It happened. Like, it's happening. Keep watching, please.